do this. Good morning. I thought it was only fair, since my first video was my birthday vlog, I do a get ready and a get to know me for those of you that don't know me, because if you're here from my other channel, Tina's Yummy Eats, you already know a little something. But let's get to know each other. So, oh, and yes, I'm doing my makeup on the floor. This is real-ish. We only keep it real here. So, my name is Cristina, but everybody calls me Tina. I am from New York, born and raised. Queens, baby. New York shit. I don't really like talking about myself, but I mean, I guess it just comes with the territory, right? I'm 31. I just turned 31. February 20th. Pisces squad, always. I started YouTube in February of 2019. Tina's Yummy Eats. Go check that out. And I honestly loved it. Like, I'm such a private person, but I always watched like the mukbang videos and all that, and I just thought it was so cool, like, you know, people eating and talking ish. And I was like, since I watch these so much, why not give it a chance? Even though it was so out of my comfort zone, something just told me go for it. Like, I was thinking about it so much, and something just told me go for it. So I started, and I think it was one of the best decisions I made. So I thought I was in like the peak of my life. Like, I was like, oh my God, everything's going so good. Everything's going so great. And then December of 2020, I was 28, and the pandemic hit. Just like it affected everyone. It affected millions of people. And little did I know, the universe had something in store for me. So, December 2020, my dad ended up passing from COVID. And that literally, I felt like my world came crashing down, obviously. Because the best way I could explain it is, you know, the cycle of life is, hopefully, because you just, you know, life is unpredictable, but the cycle of life you come to understand is, you know, your parents give birth to you, take care of you, and then you take care of your parents, and then they unfortunately pass, but you don't imagine that they're gonna pass so young. Now, you know, I wasn't that young, but, you know, I still thought it was just so unexpected, because there was just no goodbyes, there was no nothing. And you know, when you think you're at your peak, and then something like that happens, your world just comes like crashing down. So I was then obviously went into like depression state. And I felt like my world was done. So you go through, you know, the grieving stages. I don't really like to cry about it. I get choked up, But I don't really like to cry about it anymore because I know that's not what my dad would have wanted. So going into my depression state, obviously I stopped doing my other channel, Tina's Yummy Eats, and I just worked all the time, you know? And I was an account manager. I was an accounting manager for a trucking company. And I was making decent money, you know? But I wasn't happy. Like, I wasn't truly happy. So on top of that, on top of not being truly happy with my job, then dealing with like a toxic work environment, the owner was just unfortunately really, one of the owners was just really, really toxic. And, you know, a lot like came into play. I was not happy. He just overworking, underpaid. You know, I was doing 3 people's jobs at one spot, on top of not healing from my dad passing, because I was just in a funk. Like, I was just obviously going through the grieving stages. So I was sad, depressed, angry, you know, all of it. And I just was really thinking, is this what like my life is, you know? Like, is this what it's gonna be? So it took me like a year, I want to say. So December of 2021, I was like, this can't be life. I'm about to be 30. You know, there has to be more in store. And I just started thinking. And I was like, you know, like, what can I do? I'm such a person that's like, you can only cry for so long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's either, you know, you do something about the spilt milk, or you freaking let it rot and you just stay bitter. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, obviously I need to do something. And I know I need to heal, because my dad wouldn't want to see me like this, crying all the time, so upset, you know? So it got to a point where I was like, I know what I do. I know what I bring to the table. And I know that I can be more and do more, you know? I know I could be great if I wanted to. But, of course, you start thinking about all the what ifs. So I kept putting it to the back of my mind, you know? I was like, no, you can't go off and start your own thing. You can't be an entrepreneur because you don't have a steady paycheck, you know? Like, and of course, I, unfortunately, was like instilled with that mentality. And I was like, what the hell? I was 28. I was in the process of like looking for my house, looking for a house to buy. And and literally I kept getting turned down. And I'm like, I don't understand. I don't understand why I keep getting turned down. It's, you know, I saved up, I had the money, everything was good, my credit was excellent, like, and just the freaking, everyone kept overbidding me. And I'm like, I just don't understand. So then I'm a fond believer in everything happens the way it's supposed to. And the universe will give you the answers you need without, when you need them. So that was when I was 28, and I was so upset because I'm like, what the hell? I want to move out. I want to do my thing. And it's time. But I was like, it's not happening. So hence when I turned 30, I started thinking about everything. And I was like, okay, Cristina, have a conversation with the universe, with God, and you'll get all your answers. So I did. I prayed on it, and I said, what the hell is going on with my life? Like, 1 minute I thought I was in the peak, and then all of a sudden my world came crashing down. And then I said, okay, obviously God knew what was in store, and I didn't get my house because had I gotten a mortgage, I would have had to stay in a toxic work environment because I had a mortgage to pay. So I would have had to suck it up and stay or find something else that's going to give me a steady paycheck, right? I said, okay, that's why I didn't get the house. And unfortunately, it was your dad's time. And it also worked out because when you lose a parent, and only people that lose one parent understand it, when you lose one parent, you want to put your parent that is still here, it's like you want to put them in a bubble and take them with you everywhere. Like, those hamsters in the wheel, you know what I'm saying? In the ball that they put them in and let them like roam around everywhere. You want to put them in that to protect them because this is your last existing parent. This is your last parent that is still with you, and you don't want anything to happen to them. So I said, I obviously didn't get my house because it wasn't time for me to leave my house because my mom needed me, and I needed my mom. So I literally said, okay, I understand, God. I understand why everything happened the way it was supposed to. Did it take a little bit for me to find out? Yes, but I also think that was because I was stubborn and I didn't want to see it, And so April of 2022, I finally I was like, you know what? I don't have a mortgage to worry about. I saved up for this. I have a good amount of money, I had built some clientele because one thing to do when you work is always build connections and always do your best work because they're always going to remember you. So I said, I built clientele. I constantly keep working for people. Why not? I'm not for nothing, not to toot my own horn, but toot. I was really good at what I was doing. So I said, how about you stop putting water into other people's cups, into other people's flowers, and water your own and watch it grow. And go back to doing what you love. And work on yourself, heal yourself. Which is exactly what I did. So April 28, 2022, I said, peace the fuck out. I'm out of here. And, I try to have a civil conversation with with the toxic owner. And he just wasn't having it, you know. He said everything I needed to hear, to be like, okay, yes, it's right for me to go. This is the right decision. I made the right decision. You know, but that's a whole other story for a whole nother video, because that's just, you know, dealing with toxic. Unfortunately, there's so many toxic employees, like employers, owners and stuff. It's so sad. Like, it's so sad. But that's a whole other video. So I left and I said, okay, I'm gonna start watering my own stuff. Now, there were days where I was freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, did I do the right decision? You know, I'm such an overthinker. So I was like, did I do the right decision? Did I really do this? You know, because I was so raised with the mentality that you have like you're supposed to have a steady check, you know? And then you have everybody asking, well, what are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now? And I know it was them meaning well. But sometimes you just don't want to hear that. You know, you don't want to hear it. You just want to hear, okay, you busted your ass. I started working since I was 14. And I hadn't stopped since. So it was like, okay, like I've never been without a job since I was 14. And I don't have a steady check right now, but it's okay. I saved up for this. You know, like I know I'm going to be okay. And, you know, there were good days and there were bad days. So I started my own accounting consultation. And then I went back to what I truly loved, which was YouTube. And I went back to doing my videos and to really healing myself, because one, you could always work on yourself. And two, there were a lot of stuff I had to really come to terms with, you know. I had to really work on and see what exactly was the root of the issue, because not for nothing, I think when you get messed up is like when you're young, you know what I'm saying? So I had to work on those demons, and I had to really work on me and get and love me again, you know, because I had just been in such a depression that I lost sight of me, you know. I gained weight. I had lost 40 pounds like years ago. And in 2020, I was actually at my lowest. So I had lost 40 pounds. And then with COVID and then the passing of my dad, I had put on 27 pounds back. So I was not happy with how I felt. I was not feeling good inside, you know, and I just knew I just needed to work on me. And that's exactly what I did. And is it hard some days? Yes. I literally, you know, it's not like you have a set like thing of duties every single day, you know. When you work for yourself, when you're self-employed, it's literally like no one's on top of you. So it's like if you don't do anything that day, it's not like you're gonna get yelled at, but also nothing's gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta have like a lot of discipline. So I had to balance that out, you know. It wasn't always easy, but I'm almost a year now self-employed, and I have to say it was the best decision. Do I want to do like accounting stuff forever? Honestly, no, I really don't, because it's not really a passion of mine. What I want to do full time is social media. You know, I've always enjoyed other people's cultures, like trying new foods, going to traveling, you know, to other countries and stuff. So I would love to do, you know, to go into like traveling videos, trying new foods from other countries, which I am gonna do. So, you know, whatever life has in store for me, I learned that money is gonna come and go. One thing that the passing of my dad taught me is that money will come and go. But, you know, are you truly happy? Like, my dad was literally the life of the party. And he lived one thing I could say about that is my dad lived his life to the fullest. Okay? Like, my dad passed, he was 57 years old. He had just turned 57. And he lived his life to the absolute most. Okay? And I always was like, wow, I wish I could be more like that, because I was always worried about money. You know? Like, I was always like, oh my God, I gotta save. And he was always like the type where it was like, okay, well, I got $100, I'm gonna spend $500, you know? And I just never came out like that. So it's definitely something I had to like train my brain, because it's like, you know, I was making good money, you know, for my age. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy in the environment. I wasn't happy with the freaking guy treating me whatever way he wanted to, you know, talk to me whatever way he thought he could, and that I was going to take it. And then making me work 3 people's jobs for barely the salary of one, you know. It just was a lot. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not happy. It's time for me to go. I have to find myself again. And I'm not saying that I'm 100% like cured and like found everything again, because I feel like you could always like work on yourself. But I went back to working out and losing weight and getting back to like my old groove, you know, and working on my past demons and working on myself and really truly healing. And I'm definitely in a much better space than I was at April of 2022, you know? And obviously, there's always room to grow. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And it brought me to making this channel, you know, because I honestly have like the best supporters and they wanted to see more. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to stop overthinking so much and just do it. Because if you live in the what ifs, honey, you're never going to get anywhere. Like, I am the queen of what ifs. And that's something that I promised my dad, that I was going to stop overthinking so much and stop thinking about everything that could go wrong and just do it, you know? Do what really makes me happy and block the outside noise. Because let me tell you something. Not everyone supported my me leaving my job, you know? And they're, you know, and I get it because, you know, it's like, well, it's not a steady thing, you know, it's not a steady check. But I just couldn't explain to people anymore that it just wasn't for me, you know? And it was like, I just watched a show the other day, and it makes so much sense what they said. It was like an itch I had to scratch, you know? And I was like, this is the time to do it now, you know? I don't have a mortgage. I don't have like a set rent, you know? Shout out to my mom. You know, I did have bills, but I was like, okay, I could pay for my car. I could pay for my car insurance. I could pay for the phone bill, the cable bills. I could do this, I could do that. I could pay for everything and be okay. So I was like, I have to do it, you know? And it was an itch, and I scratched it, and I'm so happy I did, because it was probably the best decision I made. And I know that my dad is always with me, and he's guiding me, as well as like my grandparents, you know. I know they're with me and they're guiding me, and they are letting me know that I'm gonna be all right, you know, and not to worry so much about money, because money comes and money goes. But one thing is for certain is that your happiness should never, ever go. So that is how I came to be here. So what else should you guys know about me? I'm single. Not that I'm not dating. I'm currently not dating anyone. I'm kind of just like, when they come, because I'm like dating me right now, and I love it, you know. And whenever it's my time, it's my time. I'm not rushing anything. I'm just loving my me time. And I used to like freak out, because I'm like, oh my God, I had like a timeline set in my head, you know, like, oh my God, I want to do this by this age and that by that age. But something I learned that to be very true, and my mom used to tell me this all the time, because she used to be like, oh really, those are your plans? Well, let me tell you something. If you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Because, okay, your plan is already written out. Your story's already written out. We're just playing it out right now. And as I got older, I totally understood that. Because I was like, wow, that couldn't be more freaking true, okay? But you don't learn that till you're older. You really don't. So whenever God wants to send them, God. Whenever will be, will be. Que será, será. What else? My dad was Peruvian. born and raised. My grandparents are Italian. They moved to Argentina. Had my mom, well, my grandparents met in Argentina. Had my mom, and then my mom came here when she was 12. So I consider myself Peruvian, Italian, and Argentinian. Even though my sister hates when I say that. But I mean, I think it's in our blood. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, I speak Spanish. Not the best, but it gets me by. I speak more like Spanglish. I went to college for psychology, for forensic psychology, but I never finished because college just wasn't for me, honestly. Nothing like against it. I just unfortunately started making a lot of money at an early age, and I was like, you know what, I don't need school. Do I regret it? Honestly, no, I do not, because one, I'm not in debt, and two, to be realistic, how many times does somebody, like, unless you're like a doctor or a nurse, how many times do you end up like in your field? You know what I'm saying? So I don't regret it. I'm happy with my decisions. I'm happy where I'm at. Oh, my cat got the zoomies. I'm happy where I'm at. Fun fact, my two sisters worked for the same company, and my older sister got out. She also couldn't take the shit no more. And my little sister, she's still there because it's convenient. She works part-time. It goes with her school schedule. So I'm like, collect your coins, girl. Just never put up with anybody's shit. You know? So, yeah, that's that. That's the little fun fact. And I am a fond believer in the universe and horoscopes. And que será, será. I know God got my back. As long as I'm a good person. As long as I'm a good person and I'm true to myself, that's all you can. That's all you can be. And that's all she wrote, folks. This is literally my everyday makeup look. Basic-ish. And yeah. That is that. Thank you for getting ready with me and getting to know me a little bit. Comment down below if you have any questions. Like I said, I'm an open book. As long as you ask me, I'll answer it. I don't have nothing to hide. So it was real. Thank you guys. And until next time, bye.